I'm creating a short series of videos about agents, and I needed a way to chat with those agents and inspect what's happening inside. So I thought today I would share how to do that. We're not going to be looking into agents. Subscribe if you're interested on that. There will be a video soon. But I wanted to cover how to create a simple chat interface to your Python scripts. So if you don't necessarily need to be working on agents, but if you're working with Python and AI and you just want a quick way to plug like an interface to that so you can chat with it instead of, like those tests where you just go to Python and reach out to OpenAI and then just see print out something more interesting than that. And also in my case, because I wanted to debug what's happening with this slightly more complex application, I wanted something that allows me to see intermediate steps and add a bit more information. Today, I'm going to look into Gradio and how to build very quick chat interfaces using this. It's a lot more powerful than that. As you can see from the screenshot, you can build all sorts of different things, but today we're only going to be looking into how to chat with your Python scripts. So you can find it here on this giant QR code, and there will be also a link in the description, including a document with more details on this. So first thing we're going to do is we have LM Studio here, which, in case you don't know, allows you to run local models really simply, and very important, gives us an OpenAI compatible API. So let's turn it on. Okay, then I've got here a project that doesn't have yet much. So first thing we want to do is install Gradio and OpenAI. Should already be done. Okay. And then create a new file. So chat. So the first step is actually quite simple. You're going to be surprised. Boom, that's it. So I've got here already some code, but what this is doing is plugging into the local model. So the one we have running on LM Studio. And we're selecting the model we want. So that comes from this name. We just need some value here for the token. Doesn't actually matter. You can put whatever you want. If you run that, you now get some new address. And if you go to simple, and put the address, there you go. So we've got the chatbot, and you can say, hey, and it should be talking to the server already. You can see the messages coming through. Okay, so that's simple. You can also add documents. You can even go and say, hey, summarize this, and include a code snippet. You'll see why in a second, but I just want to show that it's also well formatted so you can output code, etc. This is very easy to set up, so it's pretty much done. You can chat with the local server, although it doesn't really allow you to do much with your Python scripts. So what we're going to do now is to take the parts from inside the load chat, just enough parts to be able to add some flexibility. So for example, if you actually inspect the code, you'll see that what it does is it has an OpenAPI request and a stream version of it, and it just returns the messages that it gets. And then it's hooking everything, like doing some file extensions for the documents, and then hooking everything into this chat interface, which is what we're going to look into next. Okay, so if we get the chat interface, I'm going to now run with Gradio chat. So this is very similar, but now it's going to be watching for the file changes and update automatically. It will also tell you can use this share equals true. What this does is just gives you a link that you can share with other people that goes through a proxy into your local server. So if you stop running it, it also stops, but it can be quite useful to show demos to other people or even go to your mobile and test it there. Okay, so what we have here, we just pulled the chat interface out, and then that's it. And then we're passing a function. And this function is going to take a message and a history. So we've got this function, we can say, hey, and we get hello world back. So we just return whatever we want to say on that turn. And if we keep going, again, it just keeps returning. So every time we return here, it's a new turn. And that should be added to the history. So what's going on here? So internally, the chat interface is hooking a text box into the generate function. And then from there, it's going into a chat bot, which is this component, which knows how to render the history, basically. And then also outputting the history that gets fed into the next turn with the new prompt in the history. So that's pretty much, I mean, oversimplification, but that's pretty much how it works. Right now it's only giving us a hello world, so we're going to hook this into an actual server. We pretty much just need to import OpenAI, and then we paste some code here, it plugs into the same place. We replace this return with our response. So right now we're not using the history yet, we'll get there in a second. This should already be plugged to our model. Hey, there you go, plugged to our model. So let's take this out. So I've got here already some code that replaces that, and it has the streamed version as well. So it just returns chunks, and each chunk is just the actual word being returned. We're going to use that, and I'm actually going to replace this code with new one. So now we just outsourced the streaming into our model file, and we're now doing the format conversation. So this is now going to get the history and convert it into OpenAI objects and plus our new prompts. Then we stream, and then we add each chunk to our response. Okay, and then what we return is the response as it is being built, the complete response. Okay, so what we're going to do is okay, and so it's coming pretty fast, but you could see it stream. You can also go and say, what did I just say? And now it actually remembers, so it's hooked to the history. We can see everything. Okay, cool. So I said I wanted to be able to inspect what's inside. So we now pulled enough parts to be exactly the same as that initial template. What we want to do now is to be able to add a few other parts. I said that we need to return the response text complete, but we can actually return a list of responses with a few objects. So if I take this out, this is still just hello world. So, hey, hello world. Okay, and now we can add this new one with some metadata. I'll explain that in a minute. With some title. If you go inside this object, you've got content, role, metadata, and inside that it can take a title, blogs, duration, etc. So this is quite powerful, and what it does is, let's refresh, hey, and it renders that block with this title. So I've put thinking here, but you can put something else. Whoops. Okay, so now, hey, and now it renders with oops. And you can keep going, and it just keeps returning the same type. So let's go back to what we had before. So what we're going to do now is to hook into a thinking model. So let's see. So we've got here our new model. Here model equals model. The thinking model will output some think tags. By default, chatbot will ignore these and just hide them, so we won't see them. So actually, if I just switch to this and say overthink my hey, something like that, and it just skips that. So what we want to do now is to see the thinking. We're going to use that technique to return the turn, and what we're going to do now, actually I'm going to get a little utility function that I've created before that just creates those messages for us. So what we're going to do now is, if the chunk is the think, cursor is trying to help, I guess, to append the thinking, actually with no content. Okay, so just a title. So this will create our metadata here. If else, elif chunk is not end, it's think, we're going to append a new message that is not inside that block anymore. So this is just adding to the turn. We haven't yet returned anything. And otherwise, we're just going to continue appending to the content of the message. So remember here, content. Okay. Okay, actually there's a little bug here, because if we never see the thinking chunk, then this is going to be a problem. So if we don't have anything in the turn yet, what we're going to do is append a new one with the chunk. So it's just a special case. Okay. Hey, how are you? Tomorrow. Let's put tomorrow so it thinks a little bit. Okay, so it's actually not thinking too much. This is pretty simple stuff. So can you solve something complicated? Yeah, okay, it did do some thinking. Here though, but we want to think even more. So, and I want this as an excuse to show you how to add a bit more customization. So you can already talk to your scripts like this. So you could put here any debug information, whatever you want, into different boxes. Okay, so what we're going to do now, and I'm going to copy this one as well. Okay, you remember how I said that you can hook things, right? And now it's when we're going to put the system prompt and something else as well. So we're going to feed more things into the generate and see how that changes our function. We go here and we add some additional inputs. Thanks, cursor. Additional inputs with the system prompt and the temperature. And now what that means is it gets linked into our function. So now we've got the system prompt, we've got the temperature we can already link because the function supports it. And now we're just going to do if system prompt and history and not history, so the history is empty. We're going to actually here ignore for now. This is actually needs to be something else. Rule system, there you go. It's the OpenAI compatible one. There's ways to format this correctly, but if we do this, and if we now come here, there's some additional inputs. So that's it. We've got the slider already set up. Actually, it's clear, so you see it's all new. Now we're going to do an overthinking agent that is also over opinionated, and you can see, very cool. It's just going to overthink my hey, and at some point it will answer. Well, that was quite a big overthink. There you go. It's always good to have fun with these models. You have a few components, text box, slider, which dictates the type that you're going to get on the other side. You have a few parameters, you can change things around. You can link it into these additional inputs. You can have more, you can try different types of things, go through the documentation linked below. We can also display different information in the turns. This is collapsible, for example. Whoop, there you go. Let me know what you do with this, or if this is going to be useful, if you like the video format or not. Please subscribe, that would be quite helpful, and I'll see you soon with the agents video, so don't forget to subscribe actually. And yeah, see you soon, bye!